Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burris, one of the owners here at eWeb Results.
My name is Matt Bertram, your SEO Jedi.
Jedi of EWR Media? Is that?
Yeah, EWR Media
EWR.
and EWR Digital.
In digital media, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Yeah.
I may or may not have done an interview as one or the other. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of our podcast. This is podcast number 472.
Oh my gosh.
I think. I mean, that's...
I feel like it's higher.
It could be higher. Remember, we are broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and Matt and I, we are your
Results Rebels.
Oh,
yeah, Cowabunga.
Hey, I wanted to get this review in, and actually, I'm probably read this review. I just thought it was worth bringing back so I could, poke some ribs here. It says, hello, I hope Chris and Mike see this review.
Oh, yeah, you did read this one.
Podcast is by far the best podcast on earth, whoever the hosts may be. That was Intricate Digital Media. Patif to you, Intricate Digital Media. His name is Matt. It's not Mike.
I think that maybe I don't articulate my words as well as you.
Okay.
So they're like, what is your name? And it's like Matt, Mike, Mac, Mark, Mickey, I don't know.
Mr. M. Well, punch in the face to you. By the way, we really do need more reviews. So if you could, go ahead and
We only have 118 right now on our G&B.
Yeah.
And really we're trying to get to 173 because there's one agency out there we're trying to beat. So you could help us with that.
Yeah.
We just need 50 more. Okay, but
it is actually still really easy to get there. Go to and I just did it, ewebresults.com/G+. I know it's G+.
But if you just search for eWeb Results, you'll find it too.
You also find it too. The nice thing about using the G+ is it actually pops up the search result and then the place where you can leave the review. It could not be easier.
Yeah, I do like that, going in there and getting that exact link and then the short link and then sending it to people. I do like that.
It makes it super easy. So a little teaser, we're going to be talking about the 10 must-have content marketing skills.
Yes, and it's basically SEO. I started reading this, I was like, this is SEO. We're going to
check one for SEO, check two for SEO.
Well, I like some of the statistics.
Oh yeah, that's
I like the stats.
Anytime we're so data driven here. Anytime there's data, we start geeking out on it. Do we have T-shirts? If they can get T-shirts.
Oh, so Javi's making podcast specific T-shirts.
Oh, okay. So
we
the
pulled
designs are in, I think.
So we pulled down from Best SEO Podcast the swag for the company. Right. And we got a lot of people wearing the company shirts.
Yep. I'm wearing one right now.
But we're making them specifically for the podcast.
Right.
So we had them for the company. We're going to make it for the podcast.
So we get it. So maybe you own a digital marketing agency and you don't necessarily want to wear the shirt of another digital marketing agency around.
We're going to franchise though. So you could buy into the franchise.
There you go.
So I got a guy out in Australia runs an agency.
Yeah. And
he was like, "Can you franchise for Australia? I'm interested." And I was just like, haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the model we're building here on how we're scaling is scalable, and we are going to be opening up new areas and new opportunities. So who knows? I mean, that's not on the agenda for 2020.
It's on the agenda after the agenda after the agenda that needs to be done before the first.
Well, you're saying we're going to buy businesses, and I'm like, Chris, you're like, let's go to lunch. So I want you to buy that. We're going to buy this business, and I'm like, I don't know if I have time to buy that business.
We got things.
I was like, let's do this and this and this, and then let's talk about it.
Oh, I see. You want to do it in an organized fashion. So we'll have swag for you soon. If you could tweet now, what we'd really like you to do is Shiko or Shikao.
Share, follow.
Boom, Shikao us so that you can connect with us. We don't currently get paid. We're going to open a Patreon account here pretty soon.
Well,
we don't get paid. So we get paid in reviews. So
no. Yeah, yes.
For now.
Yes and no. So they built the site, Best SEO Podcast, but I really didn't have any input in what was built. So we're reorganizing what the business case is and what the goals are. So, when you go to bestseopodcast.com, up in the corner, you're going to be able to buy paid consulting. You're going to be able to buy the profit plans
right.
that we're offering at the agency.
Yeah.
We're no longer offering them at the agency. I know it's confusing.
Right.
We're only offering workshops. Okay.
At the agency.
At the agency. So the profit plans, the mini consulting packages are going to be offered on our website.
So that's just a value add for our podcast listeners.
That's just for our podcast listeners, because the clients that we're bringing in for the agency need way more than that, right? So it's
and it may be the case that you call in, get one of those profit plans, and then get kind of shifted over into, hey, we really need to dig a lot deeper and get into
yeah. So really, the consulting is going to be talking to Chris or myself, more probably myself. I don't know, because you're not here very often anymore.
Every now and then.
Yeah, but so if you want to talk to me, like, you'll be able to buy that, and then we do have a Patreon account, so. We just need to upload it. So basically, like 5, 10, whatever. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee or a meal or something like that.
Or a Tesla.
Or a Tesla, you could do that.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then...
it's a wide range.
Yeah, and then there was one more. Oh, we're going to be offering sponsorships. So SEMrush had called us in the past to do sponsorships. I was on a guest podcast on another site. We were kind of talking through it. He said, we really need to be offering sponsorships. So if it's non-competitive or it's supplemental, I know there's a lot of people out there we have relationships with. We haven't reached out to you and said, hey, are you interested? But if you're watching this and you are, please contact us. So we are going to be building a full podcast division. And so these sponsorships will help support full-time people for that, because really the podcast and the agency are kind of
separate entities.
Yeah, they're separate entities, and the agency is growing at kind of an exponential rate. So
we got to put a separate piece in place to make sure that the podcast,
we got to make sure
we've been falling off a little bit.
We've been falling off on the podcast, so we apologize.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we need that separate piece to make sure that we're able to continue to deliver value.
Well, yeah, we got to transcribe. We fell back on transcription.
Oh, really?
So some people, because we're just babbling back and forth, they don't want to listen
Transcribe.
to us. And so they just want to read it, and they want to skip to the good part. So I actually have a few people that have asked for that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're still working with the person.
Yeah, so not everybody likes to hear you and I banter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Sorry.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
We enjoy it.
I mean, we're all about business here. We are all about business.
All right, so this is top 10 must-have content marketing skills, right?
Woo!
And do we have an author on here? Is the author somewhere? Did we get that?
I know that it was published February 17th.
Yes, and it was on Search Engine Journal.
All screenshots taken by author February 2020. But no name.
No name. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, patif to the unnamed author of top 10 must-have.
It was on Search Engine Journal.
Marketing skills. Yeah. So I liked how this started off, because I love the data. Right. For example, a number of people using ad blockers has risen by 10% in 6 years. First off, how do they figure that out? Like that's a lot of fun. I like that kind of data. Next, no matter how much you spend on paid advertising, there is a 26% chance your target audience won't even see them.
So that is another reason you should do SEO.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, really, like when you're looking at paid ads versus SEO, and a lot of people have asked us about, what we should do and this and that.
What's the right ratio?
I've created a couple different scenarios of like when you should use paid ads, because you should.
Yeah.
But your core marketing budget really should be on SEO.
Because there's more value there.
There's more value there over long term. But this was an interesting dynamic of a statistic that came in and said, well, not only is SEO better in the long term, people are not necessarily going to see your ads.
There's 25% extra people. Only 75% of the people are going to see your paid ads. The full 100% are going to see your organic
there's trust issues.
efforts.
There's other things, but Google's a huge company based on just ads. So they do work to an extent. I think you just got to spend a certain amount. Yeah. So people that were spending $500,000,
really just kind of testing the waters.
We're testing. Well, it was when like nobody was using it, and you were getting like 3 cents a click.
Yeah, you're like
now you're like $40 a click, $126 a click. I mean, how many clicks, you
got to have a really
efficient... To get to a lead, to get to a conversion.
Yeah,
right?
you got a really efficient conversion and sales process in order to make sure that you're getting your value. Search, it mentions voice search is growing.
Yes.
So, yes. 4.08 million voice assistants in use worldwide. I feel like that's low.
Look, anybody asking who, what, when, where, why, how?
Yeah. Yeah, on their on their device, any device. I don't know that probably doesn't include just cell phones, right? Like 4.08 million.
It could be tablets.
That's probably just Alexas in people's houses.
Well, I think that might be that statistics from one thing, like Alexa or Siri or something. I don't know if it's all of them.
Yeah, because I would call your cell phone a voice assistant now, right? It's it's a map and a phone and a text device, or whatever. But it's also I'm assuming it's not.
It's amazing.
How did we live without them? In the future, the only content people will read is authority content written by experts, right? That's interesting, and you need to be mindful of that. If you're just kind of producing mediocre articles, that's just not going to cut it as you get further down the road of this content marketing.
Well, yeah, I mean, how Google's looking at it is they're looking for unique, helpful content. Yep. And there's a lot of topics out there that have been written about thousands of times. Like, are you adding really any value to what's going on of what Google's trying to do
in that landscape?
So you got to be mindful of that for sure.
There's content marketing that works. There's content marketing that doesn't work. First, you need to master the right content marketing skills for success. Interestingly, we're going to cover those, the 10 of them in this. Now, I thought the very next line is the top 10 content marketing skills to learn for greater brand success. It's actually a good SEO strategy there, right? Because it's not the title of the article, it's probably the H2 of the article. And so using smart SEO in this article about content.
Well, I would say if you're trying to rank for brand success, it needs to be in the first 5 keywords.
Yeah, no, I would. Okay, I probably would have. Yeah.
I mean, better.
Yeah,
but not.
It's good that they did an H2 and extended the breadth of the content. It just could have been
what I'm starting to see happen in articles. Just a quick pro tip for everyone out there is Google likes to see a summary.
Yep.
At the top, so it's like 10 tips. Here's the 10 tips and kind of structured data as like
then the deets,
and then break it down. So
because I was just on a phone call, and one of the things they said is like people absorb information in the gaps between their lives, right? Like so like you're in you're in the waiting room, the doctor's waiting room, and you're absorbing micro moments where you're collecting little bits of information, and so you got like if you see a big block of text, like that's just not going to work unless you're in.
Well, I think that's again why podcasts are so effective.
Yeah.
Because you can turn it's on demand.
And it's in the car.
It's in the car.
Right.
It's on your phone. You can take it anywhere.
By the way, if you're driving, drive safely now. Also, you mentioned if people are watching us, make sure you subscribe and follow because that's really important.
Yeah, we're working on the whole expanding the podcast on different platforms. We got it all over the place now.
All right, they're dying for skill number
one. I'm sorry.
All right, skill number one. Sorry to cut you off. Detective work, digging up facts about your audience. No matter, and actually in some cases I just said we need to read this article because it's very well written. No matter how compelling your content is, you won't convert anyone if you don't know, and this is in italics, exactly who you're speaking to. And then he gives a for instance. I thought it was pretty interesting. Hey, today I would like to reveal exactly how to get to let go of someone you love so you know how to move on from a relationship and move forward with your life. Watch this brand new video right away. And the point he makes is it's not fancy, fluffy words.
No.
It's not like super the content writer of the ages came in and created this line. It's just they know exactly what their audience is interested in, and they said, hey, we've got it. You watch the video.
Yeah, it's just really personalized. I think that's really the term everyone's looking for is like, hey, you're trying to get over someone in your relationship. Here's what you need to do.
Yep.
Right?
And then he breaks down like more details. He goes, here are 5 powerful ways to put your detective's cap on and dig up clues about your audience. Number 1, use Google Analytics. This is where you started thinking, well, okay, that's SEO, right? To find out who's visiting your website. You can get information from analytics. And he says like names, ages, and genders of your site visitors.
Not names,
you can't get
but you
names.
could get gender, you could get age, you could get pay, salary demographics, which is a little sketchy, but
and that's only on a limited number of the visitors. Like it's not 100%. They don't have that information. For
they
all
have
the
a lot
visitors.
of undefined, right? So.
But definitely not names. I'm surprised that they
you can get
included that in there.
like interests.
Yeah,
you can get interests and stuff.
Yeah. Number 2, go on Quora or Reddit and research topics around your niche. Here's where you can find their fears, their desires, their dreams. Remember, there's 2 things that kind of drive people. It's things that they want and things that they want to avoid, right? And so when you're getting their fears and desires and dreams, you're kind of covering both of those.
Well, 2 interesting facts. 95% of all decisions are emotional.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then
I just made an emotional decision to agree with you.
and then the desire for fear or fear as a motivator over reward is like 3 times greater or something like that. Like, so people don't want to lose something. People don't want to avoid something.
They're more risk averse. Yeah,
exactly.
So they'd rather they're more comfortable taking risk to save the $5 that they have than they are to take risk to get $5 they don't yet have.
Yep.
Yep. Take note of how your users respond to your content. You can use a tool like BuzzSumo and actually understand, hey, how are they engaging with your post? What are the processes? I can tell you, I'm doing that now, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. There's something that's a little parallel coming up soon. Offer surveys, right? That's a great way to learn about your customers. I've heard lots of
SurveyMonkey or something like that.
Use SurveyMonkey, but I've heard lots of kind of business cases where they just did a survey of their audience, and like they realized at this one clothing shop that 80% of the women who shopped there actually got their hair done just down the street. So they formed a partnership with them, because then anybody else who gets their hair done, they could have a free promotion, and then
there's so much in data.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that understanding what's going on, and that's why I think digital marketing is so much more powerful than traditional marketing. Is you can see what's happening and make adjustments.
Yeah, really quickly.
Really quickly.
In the moment.
Yeah, and you can't do that with traditional marketing. You don't really know what's going on, and
you can't just take down that big billboard and then replace it with a coupon code that you should have had.
I haven't seen this in a while, but I think at one point I saw a billboard and there was like a misspelling.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be there for a month.
I mean, you could have that in a blog post and you can go make a change, or on a website it's like a quick change, but on a billboard, ooh.
Engage with people in your comment section of your blog. And I can talk about my other business, My Vital C, where deciding to put our product in glass bottles was just listening to people in YouTube, listening to people on the phone, obviously, and comments on Facebook.
I thought it should have been glass.
It should have been glass.
Plastic. Yeah.
So all I did was listen to Matt. So really, this should just say listen to Matt.
I'm just most people. I fall in the category of the bell curve of most people.
The way I think is about how most people think.
Not always true, but I'll go with it.
Speaking to your audience should be like having a conversation with your friend. The better you know your friend, the better the conversation is going to be, right? Otherwise, you have that awkward conversation with somebody that you don't get along with. Skill number 2, the art of subject matter expert interviewing. To write amazing content, you need to be an expert on your topic. I always like this question. How hard do you think it is to be an expert on a topic? I mean, we know the topic, like what the topic is depends, right?
Yeah.
But like, would you say like it's in the realm of I feel like some people.
I think everybody's an expert at something.
I think that's true.
If someone has a passion,
yep.
like they're gonna know more about bird watching,
or
you know what I mean? Yep. Like anybody that knows anything about bird watching knows more than
me. Yeah, both of us. Combined. Probably. Yeah.
So they're an expert.
Probably Yvonne as well. So,
I mean, I think it comes down to like, why are you interviewing the subject matter expert? What content are you trying to capture?
I think there are people who believe that becoming a subject matter expert is a really challenging thing, and it's something that they couldn't do. And I've just never had that opinion. I feel like you got to read a lot. Right?
You got to read a lot.
And you can read very niche stuff. One of the points he makes is like, you don't need to become a medical doctor in order to write intelligent medical articles. You just need to become an expert in that little niche. Does it help if you have the broad base? Of course it does. But you just become an expert in that niche. And that's really...
I mean, I can diagnose myself.
Yeah. Just go to WebMD.
WebMD and just type in whatever.
It's either a slight abrasion or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's either...
Well, all the different, like, oh, that autoimmune, I got that. Like people like self-diagnose. You're like,
it's probably dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
Mostly for your psyche.
And then people are like self-medicating, they go to a doctor. Because I used to be a pharma rep.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would go and like, I need this. Yeah. And that's what the pharmaceutical companies with the advertising are driving you to do.
They're trying to do.
They're like, go to the doctor and demand this.
Demand what you need. Because clearly you have restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Like that wasn't even a thing. I sold that.
You can produce authority content even if you don't have a degree in that niche. I always just believe you got to read a lot, right? Process a lot of information. And then it's ultimately, and I know you'll agree with this, it's ultimately when you start teaching it, that you become an expert.
I would say you don't really know it, actually, until you teach it. Because
it's like when you wrote this book, right? Like all of this information was in your head, but it's so much more concrete since you've put it in paper, right? Since you
I had to really work through it. But you see that when we're doing trainings here in the office.
Yeah.
When we're doing some coaching, I'm like, explain it back to me.
Yeah.
And you can see that there's some stuttering and there's this and that, and then the synapses get formed, and then like when they repeat it, like,
it gets better.
It gets better.
It gets a lot better.
It gets more articulate. And really, like when you're talking to clients, we're training the account managers to talk to clients. They're learning, right? Yep. And I think it's through the teaching is how you learn.
Yeah. So that's I think what you need. Here are 5 tips to make your interviews seamless and value rich. Be prepared. Before you call your SME, subject matter expert, do as much research as you can. And I can give a great example. I was just recently the Dr. Gundry podcast. I recorded a podcast with Dr. Gundry. If you don't know who he is, he's written a couple of books, Plant Paradox, Longevity Paradox. I actually read, it's funny, you watch the late night show and like, have you read my book? And you know that the host hasn't read, 3 books from the night before. I read his second book, his most recent book, twice, and then the book before that once before I went to the interview because I wanted to be able to connect with him on his subject matter, and it actually did work out really well. There were a couple points in that podcast where I was actually able to bring in information about which he speaks about, which he's passionate into the interview.
So I'll throw in a quick story, and I'll try to be quiet because I know we're trying to get through this and people don't want to hear me ramble. But when I was moving from PPC, right? Because a lot of people don't know this, but I started as a PPC expert, and then moved into SEO, right? And it really gave me the foundation of SEO because it's the same algorithm to a degree, and you can see more data and blah blah blah.
The concepts are
like so when I'm teaching people PPC that understand SEO, it's pretty easy, right? So, but bottom line is, so I'm meeting with one of the top experts for SEO here in Houston, and I only knew PPC, so I read a bunch of books,
right,
to prepare for that conversation. To be ready for that,
yeah.
And like I went into the conversation, and I was like, oh, like...
We're kind of the same level.
Well, like, there's different things. I didn't know some experiential knowledge, right? That but as far as concept strategies, all these sort of things, I had quite a bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that was like 5 books.
Right.
So I read like 5 books. One was The Art of SEO.
Right.
Actually, no. I read that. I read part of it, not really. Like it was so big, but then I went back. And then I went back and reread it. It was like 900 pages.
Yeah,
I didn't really read it the first time.
Right.
But then I went back and like actually read it and highlighted everything up, and like I've read that cover to cover now.
Yep.
And it's now a reference book for me. But anyways.
And that's some of the split off some of the information where relevant into this.
I mean, this is literally like 400 books.
Yeah.
Maybe 300. I don't know. But I read a ton of books.
And label. I remember being on the plane with you, highlighting.
I would highlight them. I would label them. And then I was like, all this information is really important.
By the way, we're holding up the book. If you're just on the podcast listening, it's Build Your Brand Mania. It's an Amazon bestseller that Matt wrote, published, edited. But the brilliant part is that I wrote the foreword for it.
It's really quite a good foreword.
The best part of the book, I think. I don't know.
It tees it up.
All right, number 2, skip the dead air with open-ended questions. So you don't want to ask like, do you really enjoy what you're doing? Yes, I do. You want to what is it about what you do that you love so much? So ask open-ended questions, not yes or no questions if you're going to be interviewing a subject matter expert.
So a tip for interviewing, so this is a little side note, is if you're interviewing somebody, because I've been on a bunch of, you have to like guest podcasts and blah, 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 is do a pre-interview.
Yeah.
Let them answer all these questions, get out like what they're going to say, them kind of talking about their business or whatever.
Yep.
And now they don't want to repeat themselves when they're talking to you again on camera. So then you can really get into the meat.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what that was kind of a suggestion tip that another podcaster, fellow podcaster,
gave you. Yeah, like go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, so this is 5 tips to make your interviews seamless and value rich. Bring your content outline, right? So you're going to have a content outline before you even get there. So you got to have done a lot of homework and know where you want to go. Your interview with a subject matter expert is 2 pieces. 1, to fill any gaps that you have, and 2, really to lend the credibility of that subject matter expert to the article that you're writing. Like I interviewed Dr. Gundry.
So you're trying to get quotes and
yeah. So there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
Next, record your conversation. I almost feel like that goes without saying.
How many people record the conversation and don't listen to it?
Yeah. No. It's like,
I mean, that's why you want to transcribe it.
Yeah.
Like, and Google will help you do it. So it's pretty easy.
Pretty easy. Don't be afraid. And then finally, don't be afraid to ask clarification. You know, we talk a lot about the fortune is in the follow-up, right? Yeah. That's the sales lineup. That's, link building. That's like the fortune is in the follow-up.
That's the remarketing. Just remarket.
It's also true in the interviews. It's like when you get that answer and you see the opportunity to dig deeper and get more information out, that's where the fortune of that
go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you should say?
Go down the rabbit hole. All right, skill number 3, writing each piece of content with the goal in mind. By the way, this is the top 10 must-have content marketing skills. Writing each piece of content with a goal in mind. And he gave some really good example. It's actually really good. I almost want to buy the product because it's short and sweet and easy to do. Goals aren't only specific to selling your service, right? So your goal might be, I don't know, a lead magnet to grow your email list, an email series which drives people to different blogs, or an authority blog.
So this piece you skipped this. I circled it.
Yeah, you thought it was you want me to read that?
Yeah, I like it.
Because according to leading social media analytics and software firm Sprout Social, 74% of buying decisions today are based on what customers read on social media.
I have never seen that statistic before.
Do you believe that? I don't.
I don't. I think that there's some credence in it. Okay, because I think that Facebook.
So let me ask you. I'm gonna play devil, and I'm gonna interrupt you here. Apologize. Yeah. Once you're a recommender, then you should be a consumer.
Yeah, I know that wasn't what this statement was, but I feel like
that's in the influence.
The personal recommendation. If someone is saying something on Facebook that you know, like, or trust, you're going to listen to them.
Yeah.
And then, that other piece of data, which there's data out there that supports it. There was a study of like putting little signs in people's yards. They had to put a little sign like drive slow.
Yeah, that was
and then they're like, put this giant one in your window or whatever.
Yeah.
And they did it. And like, I'm seeing some of these
things pan out.
These pan out in the referral market.
What's the
tipping point, or what are you talking about?
Influence.
Oh, influence.
What's his name?
Robert Cialdini.
Cialdini, isn't that?
There's prefluence and there's influence.
Both by him.
And it's I don't know if that. I'm sure it's in there.
Yeah,
but
that piece is in there.
I mean, they're talking about reciprocity and all these other things.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Authority. The secret is to determine the goal of every single piece and make sure that your content is written with that goal in mind. Number 4, knowing how to stand out. Right, so it's not just about writing an article, right? And you mentioned earlier, you can't just write another article that looks like the same as everybody else's article. And here's ways that you can come up with this type of content that stands out. Number 1, spy on your competition, right? That goes back to like doing research, figure out what they're doing and what they're missing.
So in a PPC, there's a tool we use called SpyFu.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And it has spy in the name.
Right.
And I think the professional term is listening tools.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're like, what is the competition doing? What can we do?
Where are the gaps?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Present content uniquely. So maybe it's different. Maybe it is everybody writes content about your subject and nobody has a video to accompany it. So like add a video to it. I know this is that ties into content. Next, develop your own personal style. Like the whole people having a connection with individuals who represent your business. By the way, it doesn't have to be the owner. It doesn't have to be any one person, actually. It can be a group of people as long as they have a very like mind. But that is really powerful, and you end up with a lot of followers and then end up having actual influence on people.
I mean, people do business with people. I mean, when I was in sales in the early days of the
people that they like. You didn't finish that.
Well, yeah. people they know, like, and trust. No, like, and trust. No, like, and trust. No,
absolutely.
But I mean, when I was passing out business cards or whatever, like back in the day, like I pass out like, hey, here's a link before even LinkedIn. Like, here's my personal blog, or like a little bit of information about you. I think is really important, so people don't see you as a like 2D, or they just see you as a business. And I mean, I think even businesses with spokespeople and that sort of thing, they're trying to elicit emotion. Yeah. Like even these car commercials. Yeah. Like, it's like, what does the car commercial have to do with like XYZ, like feeling good in life? You know, and it's like, if you drive this car, you do. Or you wear this brand, you do. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So. Yep.
So that's knowing how to stand out. And then skill number 5, we're going to stop. This is going to be, just became a 2-part podcast.
Yeah, because I'm going to be quieter. Let's read.
Skill number 5, keyword research savviness. So it's not just the ability to do keyword research, it's the ability to do it with savoir-faire. So
what does that word mean exactly?
Savvy.
Like what's the definition of savoir-faire?
Savoir-faire. I don't know. I don't know. If only there were some sort of device that you could use to
look that up.
His name's not Ethan. That was not what savoir-faire.
I think me and Ethan have been talking like technical SEO all day, man. Like my brain's
wasn't gonna let that slide. Yeah. All right. So he's got, how do you choose keywords to use in your content? Go for the long tail keywords, right? And so it's always this desire, obviously this is so SEO, right?
Yeah,
it's always this desire, go after the biggest, baddest phrase on the planet, and that's just hard to get. And in fact, if you don't have the smaller long tail phrases to support and redirecting to that biggest, baddest content on the planet, it's not going to do well.
That is the strategy if you're really strategic about it. Most people like want leads immediately. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I think that kind of surrounding the castle and then going after the main door,
taking down the steeple.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is better than going for it right away, because it's gonna be very competitive. It's gonna be a bloodbath, right? You know, trying to get to that keyword, unless you can just outspend everybody, you know.
So this goes back to the same: choose low competition keywords. And this is like why I thought it was value. It's okay to select keywords like long tail or low search volume or really less competitive, as long as people are searching for them, right? Because at the end of the day, you want people to visit you, and you want people to engage with your content. And if you can start doing that on these long tail phrases, then you're going to build the authority and ultimately be able to.
Yeah, I would say the right type of people that are searching for it makes it less competitive. But also, if you're selling a product or service that's a high ticket item, even though there's low search volume, you know, you just got to look. You got to look at the business case. But I mean, there's a lot of like 30, 50, 100 keyword search for, you know, industrial, commercial, big machines.
B2B stuff.
Yeah, B2B stuff that it pays for a year of SEO.
Yeah,
you
one deal.
One deal. Yeah. You know, so it's worth it.
You can use tools like KW Finder and SEM Rush.
We use both of them.
We use both of them. So those are good recommendations for tools. All right, so that's going to wrap up. We've finished half of the top 10 must-have content marketing skills. Yeah. We're going to say to you, again, make sure you Shiko us.
Sure, like
right?
Paul.
Like you can go on to the Best SEO podcast, and there's a link there where you can get your
You know how to find us if you're listening. Yeah. Just let new people know about it.
He's a little more laissez-faire. I know what that one means. He's a little more laissez-faire. I'm going to say, please do us a favor. Go to ewebresults.com/G+ and leave us a review.
Do it for Chris.
5. Wait. Please make that review 5 stars.
No, so we got there's one agency.
Yes.
One agency in Houston that has more reviews than us. And they're a little bit bigger than us, but
a lot.
Yeah, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It's time to take them down.
It's time to take them down, and we need your help. We're crowdsourcing reviews.
There we go.
Okay, we're crowdsourcing reviews. Please leave us a review. We are trying to hit 173 and we're at 118.
Very cool.
And I can tell you the Ahrefs stats. Y'all got us to first, so we appreciate it. We're asking you to help us again.
Oh, that was on the best podcast.
The best marketing podcast. I think someone came in and beat us after that, but we jumped
had the title for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So. All right. So if you're looking to grow your business using the largest, simplest marketing tool on the planet,
the internet,
call eWeb Results for increased revenue in your business. Our phone number is 713-592-6724. I think I did that right. What's the next piece? I didn't bring the second page of my notes.
Where are we located?
If you have
we're broadcasting live.
If you have a referral, right? Somebody who's interested in internet marketing, and remember, like if you've listened to our podcast, if you're new to our podcast, just know, as an agency, we do web design, SEO, PPC. We do what you need us to do in order to help you grow your business. It always starts with a workshop.
I got, one deal that landed today. Was a referral.
Yeah.
Where it's a JV partnership.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll give you the details of this in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty big deal. And then I got a referral to a large manufacturing company.
Okay.
That was a client of somebody else.
Yep.
And they kind of needed some big guns to come in.
And we're the big guns.
And so they pulled us in and said, hey, what you're trying to do is a little outside our scope. We need these guys to help us. And this industry is very we work together, communal.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at what she was doing, and she had a lot of print design work.
Right.
And so we only have 2 in-house print people, and we were getting a lot of print work. And I'm like, hey, I think I can
shove that over
I can
your
move
direction.
this your way. Yeah. And then she was local here in Houston. I never heard of her.
Right.
And so there's an opportunity to work together.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if you do have a referral, send them to us. We'll make something happen. We'll figure it out. We are filmed live here in Houston, Texas. This is 13105 Northwest Freeway, Houston, Texas 77401.
And we're getting new Herculite doors for anybody that knows.
77040.
It's 77092. No, it's 77040.
Got it. Yes.
But what's important is where our door is right now. If you come visit us, it's kind of tucked back. We're actually converting one of our conference rooms into a lobby, and we're getting Herculite doors. So if anybody knows what Herculite doors are, they're the Florida glass ceiling doors, and it's going to be pretty awesome.
They sound heavy. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
I'm really excited about it. Actually.
That's going to be pretty cool. All right. Well, you guys have made us the most popular SEO podcast, one of the most popular internet marketing podcasts. We appreciate you. Thank you all, of you around the world. We really appreciate you. And we'll have another podcast coming out soon. Until the next podcast, my name's Chris Burris.
My name's Matt Bertram.
Bye-bye for now.